Welcome everyone back to the channel, and this is the video games pickup video for quarter 2, 2026. Now, previously I used to do these videos monthly, and I figured maybe for 2026, just to build a little bit of a stash, I would do these quarterly, because I haven't really been buying the way I used to. But, you know, this is going from April to the end of June now, and I did manage to get quite a few games, and I want to talk about them going into one of the accessories I picked up first. Now, for the N64, I picked up a Tomy memory card. Now, I know this is a third-party memory card. I don't know how great it is, but I've been wanting to play some N64 games recently. However, they require the memory card. The memory card that I've had since probably 2002 is corrupt now. It doesn't want to save. I think it was like a GameStop branded like N64 memory card. I'm not really sure. And I was trying to play Hybrid Heaven about a year ago, only to realize it doesn't save on the cart, so I need a memory card, and I really want to actually get through that game, so first off, we picked one of these up. Now, I picked up a PlayStation VR 2 game. Well, it's kind of a dual pack game. It's called Do Not Open and Overdark. I actually just got this the other day. I don't know much about it, but I wanted to get a new PSVR 2 game, because I do want to kind of build that collection, because games coming out for the VR 2 very kind of like seldom compared for the rest of the console. So, you know, what I can get my hands on, I'm gonna grab, especially if it's a dual pack. Now, for the Nintendo DS, speaking of a dual pack, I picked up Mega Man Battle Network 5 Double Team DS. Now, this is the combination of the two versions of Mega Man Battle Network 5, Team Colonel and Team Proto Man. Growing up, I have Team Proto Man. I still have it. But I remembered recently that this came out on the DS as a dual pack, and I felt like because of me having all the Battle Network games that came out in North America, I kind of wanted to get this just for the collection. I am playing through Team Colonel for the first full time on the Battle Network Legacy Collection on my Switch, but whether or not I ever actually go and play this, I felt like as a Mega Man fan, I wanted this here. Now, speaking of being a fan of a series, I picked up Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, a physical edition of it, for the PlayStation 5. Now, when this first released, it was free for PlayStation Plus, and I have the digital version of it. The physical version of this was only like $15 recently, and I pretty much have almost every Harry Potter game, and I grew up loving playing the Quidditch World Cup. So, to get Quidditch Champions, I felt like it was just a smart idea to have it. I don't know if I've ever actually played more than the tutorial of this game so far, but maybe I should give it a shot. Now, we're going to go back in time a little bit, because I have a Sega Dreamcast game I picked up this month, and I'm not going to say it's a fantastic game. I honestly don't know, because I've never played it, but I picked up Donald Duck's Going Quackers. Now, I decided to finally pick this up only because I've seen this be a game that has been like a comparison game between multiple consoles. When you compare, like, the PS1, the PS2, the GameCube, the Dreamcast, it was one of the games that was released on everything, so I felt like, I don't have it, might as well finally put it in the collection. Now, we're going to go into some Switch 2 things real quick. I picked up, recently, The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. I've heard this is a fantastic HD 2.5 HD kind of game. HD 2D, that's what it's called? I think that's what the name is, right? And it's an action-adventure game. I love this art style that Square Enix kind of, I guess you could say, invented with, like, Octopath Traveler. So it's going to be interesting going to play this when I finally get to it. Now, we mentioned Donald Duck before, and that kind of falls into this, too. I picked up the Disney Afternoon Collection. Now, I know this was released years ago, and they just released it now for the Switch 2, and it now includes two other games I remember that they added to it. The original 6 were DuckTales, Chip and Dale, Goof Troop, DuckTales 2, Tailspin. I forgot what they added into here. But it's a compilation of old school, like, Disney 8-bit games. I'm probably going to like it. I loved the original DuckTales and Darkwing Duck, so this should be fun to play. Now, I didn't think I was going to pick these two next games up, because I've played one of them, and the other one, I don't know, I just wasn't super interested in, even though I loved the games. And that's Yakuza Kiwami 2 and 3. 3 also has like an added-on story called Dark Ties. Now, I have No, I don't have Yakuza Kiwami 2 because this was like a brand new release. The same with 3. I have... Maybe I do have Yakuza Kiwami 2. I'm not even sure at this point. I know I have 1, I have 0. But I know 3 was the brand new release with Dark Ties. And I wasn't gonna pick these up at first, but then they actually were on sale for a good price, so I really decided not to fight it and just got them for the Switch 2 collection. Another game I didn't know if I really needed, but at the same time I knew I needed just because of the infamy of the series. I had to pick up the Pulsum edition of Bubsy 4D. Now, Bubsy was a 16-bit kind of character that had lackluster platformer games for like the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, I believe. But the infamy really comes in when Bubsy 3D came out for the PlayStation for how awful of a game it was. Especially at the time it came out, you had games like Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot come out, and the game played with tank controls for a 3D platformer. However, I think that's why they kind of dove into the infamy of it and called it Bubsy 4D. Now, the series died for a little while after Bubsy 3D, but recently they released like 2D games for the series on like the Switch 1 and stuff. So Bubsy 4D is the attempt of actually going back into a three-dimensional world, and I'm low-key excited for this. Another game I'm low-key excited for, I picked up the Resident Evil Generations pack. I wanted to play Resident Evil Requiem on the PlayStation 5 because I know it plays better there, but for $70-ish, $80-ish dollars to get Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village, and Resident Evil Requiem on the Switch 2, I felt like this could be an interesting way to play the game, just to see the optimizations for the Switch 2 with Resident Evil Requiem being that first big AAA game to come out for the Switch 2 alongside other consoles, and it playing relatively decent from what I've heard. So I decided I was going to get the Switch 2 version, and I'm excited to probably play this around the holidays, Halloween holiday season. So another AAA game, if you want to call it that came out recently for the Switch 2 was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, this was originally an Xbox exclusive made by Bethesda, and I did eventually want to play this, but I didn't want to have to go and get an Xbox or even play it on PC. I wanted to do it kind of interestingly, and when they announced a physical Switch 2 version of this, well, it made all the sense in the world for me that this was the way I wanted to play the game. So I picked this up. I've heard it's a fantastic game. I can't wait to play it. Now we're going to go a little bit throwback for a while, because the next couple 4-ish games that I picked up are throwbacks. So for the Sega Saturn, I imported 2 games. One of them being Mega Man 8, or Rockman 8, as it is known in Japan. The American version of this game is super expensive, but meanwhile the Japanese version is super affordable. And I wanted to have this as a Saturn game, just because I've heard the Saturn version has like extra things added to it. I've never actually played the Saturn version, but I would love to see the differences because I've played the PS1 version multiple times. And another game that's kind of a comparison in that sense is I picked up the Saturn version of Biohazard, otherwise known as Resident Evil, which goes into when I picked up the Generations collection as well. Now, the Saturn version of this game is different. However, again, the American release of this game is super expensive. It's not unaffordable, but it's more than I would want to pay for the original Resident Evil. The Japanese version has apparently full English voice acting, and it is relatively accessible if you can figure out the menus, which I should be relatively fine to do using Google Translate. And I did always want the Saturn version of this game just because of how different it kind of is from all the other releases. Not to say that it's like super different, but graphics are a little bit different. It's a Saturn game, so it's a little obscure, I feel like. And anytime you ever see a re-release, it's always based on the PS1 version of the game or the GameCube remake, never the Saturn version. So I picked up, again, going back in time a little bit, it's a newer game based on old aesthetics, the Angry Video Game Nerd 8-bit version. I loved playing the original Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 games, so having this 8-bit version actually looks cool, and it kind of looks like it just pays homage to a bunch of different games. Even the fact that the level select looks like it's Mega Man based. So I should like this. These games are always fun. But the last game I want to talk about that I picked up, that I got from Limited Run, it goes back harkening to the Sega Saturn to an extent, because it's a dual pack re-release of Hexen and Heretic. Now, I have Hexen for the Saturn. Heretic, I believe, has a Saturn version, but again, it is expensive. I don't remember what I paid for Hexen back in the day, because I got that game back in like 2016, 2017. And I just remember liking it, but thought it was very confusing. So to get a PS5 re-release of these, I don't know if it adds any like quality of life experience. I'm reading the back here. It says this enhanced restoration makes Heretic and Hexen available to new audiences and longtime fans with expanded accessibility across more platforms and languages than ever before. Whether you're returning to these shadow realms or discovering them for the first time, an epic legacy awaits. So hopefully this makes it more accessible, as it states, because the Hexen was tough. I'm going to be honest. I liked it for what I played with it, but the game was tough. So when I saw Limited Run was re-releasing this, I felt like it was accessible enough that it wasn't going to break the bank to get this. I'm realizing I got a decent amount of Limited Run stuff here this month. Between those two games. PSVR 2 game, Dreamcast, Saturn, N64 memory card, which I thought I was never going to pick up a new one, but here we are. I think for the Q2 of 2026, I do have a decent amount to show off. It's kind of cool picking up these games looking back, because they've just been kind of sitting, waiting for me to do this video for a little while, because I wanted to get a decent stack to show off, and I didn't really remember what I bought. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but that is Q2 of my video games pickups for 2026. What do you guys think? These games you have fond memories of, or there's some you maybe never played? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I will talk to you guys soon enough with another set of video games, or maybe even some other gaming things that might be coming out. Leave your thoughts down below. Until next time, guys, game on. I will catch you later. See ya. Bye.